Your Rally Factor's on tonight.
Senator Rubio is a lightweight. We understand that. He desperately needs money.
Donald Trump continuing to shake up America's political process. He was even mad at Fox News. Tonight, Mr. Trump returns to The Factor.
How do you explain this massive disparity between the amount of revenue you collect from abortion and the fact that you only report 3% of your services?
The head of Planned Parenthood under heavy fire from a House committee, even as most Americans continue to support that organization. But why? We'll have a no-spin report.
It's open season on the crack. We've had enough, and we won't take this anymore.
Also, I had a woman in Georgia charged with terroristic threats on police. She's denied bail. We'll tell you all about it.
Caution. You are about to enter the no-spin zone. The Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Will Kate's Law pass in Washington? That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. You may remember that 32-year-old Kate Steinle was murdered in San Francisco, allegedly by an illegal alien criminal who had been deported 5 times. The man, 45-year-old Juan Sanchez, will stand trial for second-degree murder. He has pleaded not guilty. The case is outrageous because the alleged killer had 7 previous felony convictions in America. The government couldn't keep him out of the country. So, the Factor has proposed a brand new law that would stop the madness. We call it Kate's Law, after Ms. Steinle, and it has been endorsed by her parents and brother. There are 3 versions of the law currently being debated in Washington, but the only one that has a chance of passing is this. Any illegal alien convicted of an aggravated felony who is deported and then returns to the USA would face a mandatory 5-year prison sentence at the very least. If the words aggravated felony are not included in the law, Democrats en masse will vote against it. And even if it did pass, the House and Senate, President Obama would veto it. But by narrowing the law down to the worst offenders, the most violent people, and not house painters who sneak back and cross the border, it makes it very difficult for liberals to oppose the law, even though some would. If the aggravated felony Kate's Law does not pass, this country is hopeless. It's as simple as that. It's hopeless. Now, most fair-minded Americans support Kate's Law because it not only punishes dangerous foreign criminals, but it gives law enforcement the tools to break up foreign gangs. Many of their members have aggravated felony convictions and have been deported. So drug gangs from Mexico, El Salvador, on, would be decimated by federal authorities, and quickly. They just snatch them out. If any politician votes against Kate's Law, they could have major problems. I mean, how crazy would you have to be to vote against a law that protects Americans from violent foreign criminals and allows authorities to break up violent gangs? Again, if this law doesn't pass, it's hopeless in D.C. Now, I've talked with some congressmen and senators who are shaping the law, and no one disagrees with me on the telephone. No one. I'm confident that the law, with the help of Senator Grassley and a number of congressmen, will get to the voting floors, and soon. If that does not happen, I will tell you exactly why and who is screwing things up. The bigger picture here is that Americans are furious that our elected officials can't do the right thing quickly. That's why Donald Trump, Ben Carson, Carly Fiorina have all attracted so much attention. Americans are tired of zombie politicians like Nancy Pelosi, who I believe would vote against Kate's Law. Recently, she made an outrageous statement about the video showing Planned Parenthood discussing the sale of baby body parts.
I don't stipulate that these videos are real. And the fact is, that the research that is being criticized there is research that has been supported. No, I've seen some news reports of it, but I also know that some of it is not real, and you can create any reality that you want.
And you should know, Congresswomen, because you could not care less about what's real. You didn't even look at the videos. Yet somehow you know they're a fabrication. You just know. That's the kind of thing that drives American voters up the wall. And that's the kind of thing that we have to stop. And that's the memo. Now, for the top story tonight, the return of one Donald Trump, who joins us from his headquarters in New York City. So you're back. How does it feel?
I'm back.
How does it feel?
Well, it feels good. You've always been fair to me, Bill. I've never had a problem with you. You've always treated me with respect and fairly, and I've always appreciated that.
Right.
You know that.
Well, that's going to change tonight. Okay. We're going to do two segments with you.
Why not?
We're going to do two segments.
Okay.
First segment is policy. Second will be the fairness doctrine as it pertains to you, or people being fair to you. All right, policy question number one. What specific tax deductions will you banish as president in your tax plan?
Well, one thing we're doing is we're getting rid of the carried interest, which, gives hedge fund guys on Wall Street a tremendous advantage. They're making hundreds of millions of dollars and they're paying very little tax. And I think it's very unfair. And it affects me, too. It frankly is a big benefit for me, but I'm willing to do that. It's unfair. It's very substantial. And we're going to get rid of it. We just came out, as you know, yesterday with a tax plan where it's a big simplification and really great for middle-income families.
Oh, yeah, but we
it's
know
going
all
to be
that.
a phenomenal bill.
We know all that. All right, so this earned interest thing you're going to get away with. How about deductions for private jets? Are they knocked out?
Well, if they're used in business, it's a business tool.
All
So
right,
that's
so you're not going to knock out that. How about season tickets at the Yankees?
If it's used for business, we're not knocking that out because that really is something having to do with business. You
Okay.
take people to games, you take people to whatever you're doing. But that's a positive thing. That's a positive thing
trying
for
to
the economy. We don't want to, Bill, we don't want to hurt. What we don't want to do is we don't want to hurt business. We want to inspire business. We want to inspire people to create jobs.
But I'm trying to get the $20 trillion debt around my neck. I understand you're doing what Ronald Reagan did. You're doing what Ronald Reagan did. I just wrote a book on Reagan. I know Reagan inside and out. You're doing exactly what he did. You want to stimulate the free marketplace by putting more money back into it, more research and development, more job creation. That's what you're trying to do. And I actually agree that that has to be done now after 7 years of Barack Obama failing to stimulate the economy. However, your plan was going to bring down government revenue. All right, they're going to get less money. So you say, but in the long run, they'll get more because more people will be in the workplace, more people will be paying taxes, and it'll go up. Fine, but speculative. Right. Fine, but speculative. So the only thing I'm hearing that you're going to knock out are these hedge fund guys carrying money from one year to the next. And I don't know if that's going to be enough to stop the debt from rising another $5 trillion.
No, the big thing we're doing, Bill, is when I get in, and I will tell you this, and I said this very clearly, I'm a cost cutter. I know how to cut costs. We have tremendous waste and abuse in this country. If you look at some of the things that are happening in the country in terms of costs,
give me one big thing you're going to cut. One big thing you're going to cut right away.
I am going to cut big Department of Education, as an example. I'm a believer. I mean, you have somebody like Jeb Bush and Rubio and others. They're big into big education and I'm all for education. I want to be local. Department of Education, tremendous cuts. Department of Environmental Protection, where they're actually going around and causing damage as opposed to saving damage. Tremendous amounts of money.
Okay, so you're going to go with a cleaver through.
Tremendous abuse.
All right. Now.
We're talking about tremendous amounts of money. Bill, we're talking about tremendous amounts of money.
And I believe you if you were elected president.
Taxes.
I believe you if you would take a cleaver to those things. I believe it. Let's go to
I would do
Putin.
Very well. People would be very happy.
Did Putin go up and say, you say you and Putin are going to be close. Did Putin go up to your office and did you guys bond or anything this week? He's in town.
No, I didn't know anything about him coming to my office, but I will tell you that I think in terms of leadership, he's getting an A and our president is not doing so well. They did not look good together.
What do you think Putin is up to in the Middle East? He's moving planes. He's moving advisors into Syria. What is he up to?
Well, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives, wounded warriors all over, and Putin is now taking over what we started. and he's going into Syria, and he frankly wants to fight ISIS, and I think that's a wonderful thing. You know, I said that a year ago, and everybody said, oh, that's terrible. If he wants to fight ISIS, let him fight ISIS. Why do we always have to do everything? But he wants to go in. He wants to fight ISIS. Now, he wants to keep, as you know, he wants to keep your leadership, your current leadership, Assad, in Syria. Personally, I've been looking at the different players, and I've been watching Assad, and I've been pretty good at this stuff over the years because deals are people. And I'm looking at Assad and saying maybe he's better than the kind of people that we're supposed to be backing because we don't even know.
Yeah,
who
but he's a mass murderer with the gas and all of that. But what's the downside of Putin fighting ISIS?
We don't know.
What's the downside of Putin fighting ISIS?
I say there's very little downside with Putin fighting ISIS, and Putin wants to keep ISIS out of Russia, and therefore he's become very active with
I'm
respect to
tell you
ISIS.
what the downside is.
And I think that's to our benefit.
I'm going to tell you what the downside is.
Well, you're going to say the downside is we're losing control of the Middle East.
No.
But with this kind of leadership, we're never going to have control of anything.
Once Putin gets in and fights ISIS on behalf of Assad, Putin runs Syria. He owns it. He'll never get out. Never.
All right. Okay. Fine. I mean, you know, we can be in Syria. Do you want to run Syria? Do you want to own Syria?
No,
I want to rebuild
but I think
our country, Bill.
Putin wants to run and call the shots in the Middle East, and the United States will be on the sideline.
I said that. Sure.
That's what he
wants.
wants.
And you have huge oil reserves. You have tremendous wealth in the Middle East that people don't even know about. And by the way, forget about Putin. You have Iran is going to take over Iraq. I called that many years ago on your show. I said we should have never gone into Iraq, which I should be given a little credit for vision because I'm the only one running that said that. But we should have never because you totally destabilized the Middle East.
And that's true.
But the fact is that Putin now. Well, that's what happened. You destabilized. And by the way, Iran is going to be taking over Iraq, including their vast oil reserves, and the leftovers are taken over by ISIS. So what have we done with our incompetent leadership?
We have given the Middle East primarily to Putin and Iran, and they will run it for the foreseeable future. And if you were elected president, you'd have to deal with that, and that's going to be one hard thing to deal with. Now, as I said, we're going to hold you over, and we appreciate you coming on. We're going to talk about fairness, which is interesting. And later, Gutfellow McGurk on Putin in America. And Lena Dunham interviewing Hillary Clinton. What was up with that? Factor's coming right back.